Most of us have experienced a paradox in life. The more you chase after something, the further it seems to slip away. When you desperately long for happiness, don't you, in that very longing, acknowledge your own unhappiness? When you seek confidence with all your might, aren't you, in essence, revealing that you feel a lack of it? It's this paradox that creates a never-ending loop. Our efforts to achieve something often magnify the very absence of it in our lives. It's like trying to reach a distant shore while rowing against the current. The harder you paddle, the further the shore seems to retreat. The more you strive for success, wealth, or recognition, the more you confirm that these things are out of reach. It's as if the very act of yearning for them pushes them further away. This realization is deeply tied to how our minds work, how we perceive reality, and how our desires shape the way we experience life. The Stoics understood this paradox better than most. They didn't chase after happiness as a distant goal. Instead, they lived as if they already possessed it. They understood that our inner state creates our outer reality. If we constantly feel we are lacking, we only attract experiences that reinforce this sense of inadequacy. However, if we live as though we already have enough, the world around us begins to respond to that inner abundance. When you live from a mindset of abundance, things change. You stop desperately searching for success, wealth, or love, and instead begin to attract those things naturally. You stop chasing and start living from a place of already having everything you need. The paradox is that the more you stop seeking what you think you lack, the more you end up with it. When you stop striving, everything starts to fall into place. This concept of living as if is one of the most powerful teachings of Stoicism. When you live as if you already have what you desire, you shift from a mindset of lack to one of abundance. And that subtle shift, living from the finished result, has the power to transform everything. Consider the example of wealth. Most people who crave money often dive into frantic work, worrying about every penny and constantly feeling a sense of scarcity. But if you act from a mindset of already having wealth, you will manage your resources differently. You will make decisions like someone who is already wealthy, not out of fear, but out of abundance. You won't spend to fill a void, but spend consciously as if you are already prosperous. This mindset attracts opportunities and the right people into your life, and your wealth will grow naturally. Similarly, when you crave love but constantly feel emotionally deprived, you inadvertently project insecurity. This insecurity manifests in every relationship, making you cling and strive for attention, which only weakens your position. But when you live as though you already have enough love, you no longer seek it outside of yourself. You become whole, and that energy of completeness draws love toward you rather than pushing it away. People are drawn to those who are already whole, not those who desperately need to be completed. The key to this philosophy lies in understanding that how you perceive yourself right now shapes how the world will perceive you. If you see yourself as wealthy, successful, and loved, the world will begin to reflect that back to you. Your internal state becomes your external reality. When you feel abundant, you attract abundance. When you feel peaceful, peace surrounds you. On the other hand, if you constantly feel a sense of lack, you remain stuck in a perpetual cycle of striving and never reaching your desires. One powerful way to apply this philosophy is to change the way you approach your thoughts before bed. What you think about right before you fall asleep deeply influences your subconscious mind. Instead of focusing on what you don't have, take a moment to visualize your desires as if they have already come true. Imagine the joy of having wealth, the fulfillment of achieving your career goals, or the warmth of loving, healthy relationships. Your mind doesn't differentiate between what is imagined and what is real. When you truly feel the emotions of your desires as though they are already here, your mind begins to align with that reality. This practice isn't just about daydreaming, It's about truly embodying the feelings of already having what you desire. As you fall asleep with this mindset, your actions the next day will reflect the person who already has what they want, not someone who is still chasing after it. This is the power of living from the finished result. Now let's take a deeper look at how consciousness shapes our reality. Have you ever noticed that some people seem to maintain a sense of peace no matter what is going on around them? Even when everything is falling apart, they remain calm and composed. The secret to this ability lies in the state of their consciousness. It's not that the external world is peaceful, but that their inner world is calm regardless of the chaos around them. As Epictetus once said, man is disturbed not by things, but by the view he takes of them. This profound insight reveals that it's not the external events that cause us distress, but our perception of them. When someone insults you, their words have no power unless you allow them to affect you. When you fail at something, it only defines you as a failure if you believe it to be true. The key to mastering your life lies in changing the way you perceive the world. When you take control of your perspective, you can maintain peace and clarity no matter the circumstances. Think of the world as a mirror. It reflects whatever you project onto it. If your inner world is filled with anxiety, fear, or self-doubt, the outer world will mirror those emotions back to you. However, when you shift your consciousness to focus on serenity, confidence, and strength, the external world will adjust accordingly. This is the power of mastering your inner state. The world around you becomes a reflection of your inner peace and strength. The Stoics understood that the external world is unpredictable, uncontrollable, and always changing. But the one thing we can control is our response to it. When we master our thoughts and emotions, we gain the ability to remain peaceful no matter what happens around us. The world no longer defines who we are. Instead, we shape our reality by changing how we respond to it. This is the essence of Stoic philosophy, the understanding that our inner world is what truly defines our experiences. By focusing on cultivating inner peace, confidence, and clarity, we stop allowing external circumstances to disturb our equilibrium. We become the creators of our own reality. So the next time you find yourself in a chaotic situation, try shifting your perception. Rather than reacting emotionally, take a step back and observe the situation with clarity. Realize that you are not your emotions or your circumstances. You are the observer, and you have the power to decide how you respond. This shift in perspective is the key to maintaining peace and strength in a world that is constantly changing. In the next section, we will explore how to take this Stoic wisdom into practical daily life and apply it to overcome obstacles and achieve personal growth. There is an undeniable paradox that many of us experience. The more you strive to attain something, the more elusive it becomes. The harder you try to achieve happiness, the more you affirm that you are not yet happy. The more you chase confidence, the louder the voice inside telling you that you lack it. This creates a perpetual cycle of desire and dissatisfaction where the very act of craving something pushes it further away. The Stoics, however, understood this paradox well. They didn't see happiness, success, or peace as distant goals to be pursued relentlessly. Instead, they embraced the idea of living as if they already had everything they desired. They knew that reality is shaped by the mind, and that the more we feel a sense of lack, the more we reinforce that feeling. When you focus on what you don't have, your mind only becomes more fixated on the absence, perpetuating a cycle of scarcity. But when you begin to live as though you already have enough, you shift your perception, and the world begins to reflect that change. This Stoic mindset of living from the finished result is transformative. Imagine you desire wealth. Most people immediately associate wealth with hard work, sacrifice, and constant effort. They dive into work with a fearful mindset, constantly counting every penny, believing that only through relentless grinding can they ever achieve financial stability. However, if you start living as though you are already wealthy, you begin to make decisions from a place of abundance, not fear. You focus on how to invest, manage, and grow your wealth, not out of desperation, but because you know that abundance is already within your reach. This shift in perspective doesn't just alter how you spend your money, it opens doors to new opportunities and relationships that align with your new mindset. Similarly, in matters of love, the same principle applies. When you constantly feel emotionally deprived, you project insecurity in every relationship. You worry about getting attention and try to please others, but this behavior only weakens your position. On the other hand, if you start living as though you already have enough love, if you embody self-worth and wholeness, you stop seeking validation from others. This energy of completeness attracts the love you desire rather than pushing it away. The key is to stop chasing love and instead become the kind of person who already radiates it. What the Stoics understood, and what we often overlook, is that our internal state is the key to shaping our external reality. Everything begins within us. When you feel wealthy, you act like a wealthy person, and that attracts wealth. When you feel at peace, you become a magnet for peace. The moment you stop identifying with a state of lack, you begin to attract what you desire. This isn't wishful thinking or pretending, it's the power of perception. The way you see yourself and the world is how the world will respond to you. One of the most powerful ways to apply this principle is during the moments just before sleep. What you focus on before going to bed leaves a deep imprint on your subconscious. Instead of thinking about what you don't have, take a moment to visualize your desires as though they have already come true. Picture yourself experiencing what you long for and feel the emotions of fulfillment in your body. Whether it's the joy of abundance, the satisfaction of achieving a career goal, or the warmth of a loving relationship, deeply feeling these experiences as if they've already happened sets the stage for your subconscious to align with that reality. When you live as if your desires are already fulfilled, you no longer feel the need to chase them. Your actions change because you are no longer acting from a place of need or desperation, but from a place of inner satisfaction. The world will then reflect that shift. The power lies not in chasing, but in living from the belief that you already have everything you need. The paradox is that when you stop striving to possess something, you end up attracting it. Consider a woman named Nina who had been trying to sell her house for months. She posted advertisements, lowered the price, and worked tirelessly to find a buyer, but nothing seemed to work. The more she tried, the more frustrated she became, questioning whether she was doing enough. But then she decided to shift her mindset. Instead of continuing to force the sale, she began acting as if the house had already sold. She packed up her things and cleaned the house as if she were ready to move out. By stopping the frantic pursuit and simply living as though the house was already sold, she created the space for the right buyer to come along. The house sold quickly after that, not because of some miraculous change, but because her mindset had aligned with the outcome she desired. This is the power of living from the finished result. When you stop grasping for something and instead live in the state of already having it, you become a magnet for that very thing. This is how abundance works, whether it's wealth, love, peace, or success. The more you stop chasing it, the more it finds you. By living as if you already have what you desire, you stop struggling and start attracting. The Stoics didn't teach us to abandon our goals or dreams. They taught us to stop making them the source of our happiness. Instead of defining ourselves by what we lack, we can define ourselves by what we already possess internally. When you live in alignment with your desires, not out of desperation but from a place of wholeness, you create the conditions for those desires to manifest in your life naturally. This principle applies to all aspects of life. Whether you're trying to build wealth, find love, or achieve success, the key is not to force it, but to let go and allow it to unfold. By shifting your mindset and living from the belief that you already have what you desire, you create the internal conditions for your external reality to align with that belief. The paradoxical nature of this philosophy lies in the fact that by letting go of the desperate need to control, you actually gain more control over your life. At the heart of this philosophy is trust. Trust in yourself and in the natural flow of life. It's about recognizing that everything you need is already within you, and by trusting that you open yourself up to the abundance that the world has to offer. Let go of the tension, stop striving so hard, and watch as life begins to unfold in ways that you never imagined possible. The concept of not striving too hard for what you desire is central to Stoic philosophy, yet it remains a concept that many of us struggle to truly grasp. In a world that constantly pushes us to be more, to do more, and to achieve more, it can feel counterintuitive to embrace the idea of allowing things to unfold naturally. Yet when we look closer, we see that this is not about passivity or giving up on our dreams. It's about shifting from a place of anxiety and desperation to one of inner peace and trust. When we stop gripping so tightly onto our goals and desires, something profound happens. The energy that was once consumed by stress and the pursuit of an outcome is freed up. You no longer push against the current of life, but instead allow yourself to flow with it. It's similar to a river. If you try to swim against the current, it will exhaust you, but if you let go, you'll find that the current takes you where you need to go. In terms of your personal journey, the shift is subtle but powerful. Instead of trying to chase success or happiness, you begin to embody these qualities. Rather than stressing over how to get to the next step, you focus on living each moment as if you are already where you want to be. This is not an act of pretending, but a deep and genuine feeling of alignment with the success and peace you desire. This simple change in perspective can have a profound effect on the way life unfolds before you. The concept of acting as if isn't about denial or creating a false reality. It's about harnessing the power of your mindset. When you act as though you already have what you desire, you step into the energy of those things. Think about it. If you already felt wealthy, would you spend your money differently? If you already felt loved, would you look for validation from others? If you already felt successful, would you act with confidence, knowing that everything you desire is within reach? This is the mindset that aligns you with what you want, without the struggle. Take the example of a professional athlete. When an athlete prepares for a competition, their training isn't based on fear or doubt. They don't train because they believe they're unprepared. Instead, they train with the mindset of already being at the top of their game. This confidence in their abilities allows them to perform without the weight of unnecessary pressure. They act from a place of assurance, not striving, and because of that, their performance flows naturally. Similarly, think about relationships. When you approach a relationship from a place of emotional security, without feeling desperate or in need of someone's validation, you are no longer seeking to control or manipulate the situation. Instead, you create a balanced, healthy dynamic where both parties can thrive. This subtle shift in how you approach relationships from neediness to self-sufficiency can change the entire energy of how people respond to you. You no longer need to prove your worth to anyone because you know your value. This shift from striving to allowing is not a passive state, nor does it mean inaction. It means that you stop chasing external validation and start trusting the process. It's about knowing that your true power lies not in what you do, but in who you are. Once you embrace this, everything changes. You start attracting opportunities, relationships, and circumstances that align with your internal state. In practice, living as if you already have what you desire requires a few key steps. First, you must fully embrace the present moment. Instead of worrying about what you don't have, focus on what you do have and practice gratitude. Gratitude is the gateway to abundance because when you focus on what is already in your life, you open the door for more. Second, you must release the need to control the outcome. While it's essential to take action toward your goals, you should also trust that everything will unfold as it's meant to. Don't force things into place, allow them to come naturally. Finally, begin to embody the qualities you want to attract. If you desire wealth, feel abundant. If you want love, practice self-love. If you want success, walk with confidence. The key to this is patience. It's about trusting that you have already taken the necessary steps to align with what you want, and now you must allow things to fall into place. This is the paradox. By letting go of the desperate pursuit of your desires, you make room for them to come to you effortlessly. One of the most powerful practices to reinforce this shift is to visualize your desires as already being fulfilled. Before you go to sleep, instead of worrying about what you don't have, imagine yourself living your ideal life. Feel the emotions as if your dreams have already been realized. This helps to reprogram your mind to align with the energy of success and abundance. The mind doesn't distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It reacts to what you believe to be true. By visualizing your desires as already fulfilled, you create the energetic conditions for them to manifest in your life. This practice doesn't just apply to tangible goals like wealth or relationships. It applies to your internal state as well. If you want peace, act as though you already have it. If you want confidence, walk as though you already possess it. When you adopt this mindset, you stop seeking approval or validation from others, and instead you create a life that reflects your inner state of abundance. This shift from effort and striving to trust and allowance can be a game changer. It frees you from the mental constraints that have been holding you back and allows you to step into the flow of life. You no longer have to chase your dreams, they will begin chasing you. It's all about changing the way you perceive yourself and your life. When you stop trying to control everything, you realize that everything you need is already within you. The world around you simply mirrors your internal state, so when you act from a place of abundance, you attract abundance. The Stoics knew this all too well. They didn't chase happiness or success. They simply embodied the qualities they desired. They lived as though they already had everything they needed, and in doing so, they created the space for those things to manifest naturally. The key to this philosophy isn't inaction, it's in trusting the process and aligning with the flow of life. Let go of the need to control, and you'll find that what you seek comes to you effortlessly. To fully embrace this mindset, it's essential to understand the deep power of stillness and patience. Patience isn't a passive waiting. It's an active state of being at peace with where you are while trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. This practice takes time, and it's not always easy, especially when the world around us encourages us to chase after things relentlessly. But once you begin to understand that everything you need is already within you, the need to chase fades, and the peace you seek naturally starts to emerge. The real challenge comes when we realize that the very things we desire, whether it's success, love, or peace, are already available to us in some form. But in our pursuit, we often overlook them or push them away because we're too focused on the idea of not having. The truth is that we are often blocking the very thing we seek because we don't believe we are worthy of it, or because we've been conditioned to think it requires hard work and struggle to attain. When we shift our focus from striving to trusting, we open the door to the life we've always desired. This isn't to say that action is unnecessary, but the action we take becomes more aligned with our intentions. Instead of acting from a place of scarcity, we act from a place of abundance, as though we already have everything we need. This is the key to creating a life that flows effortlessly. When you no longer seek external validation or approval, you begin to attract people and opportunities that are aligned with your authentic self. Instead of fighting for attention or recognition, you simply live in a way that makes you magnetic because your energy is calm, centered, and at peace. The more you release the need for approval, the more you attract people who see and value you for who you truly are. It is often in the small moments of surrender that the biggest shifts occur. When we let go of the need to control every aspect of our lives, we create the space for miracles to happen. Life has a way of surprising us when we stop trying to dictate how things should unfold. The universe has its own rhythm, and when we align with that rhythm, instead of resisting it, things begin to flow with ease. The key here is acceptance. By accepting that life is unfolding exactly as it should, we stop fighting against it. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up on your goals or becoming complacent. It means releasing the need to control every outcome and trusting that things will come to you in their own time. It's about being fully present in the moment without the anxiety of the future or regrets from the past. Imagine yourself in a moment of deep peace when everything around you feels calm and in perfect order. You're not chasing anything. You're simply existing, fully immersed in the present moment. This is the space where everything aligns when you stop fighting, when you stop chasing, when you let go, and trust that everything will unfold perfectly. The power of this mindset is transformative. You no longer feel rushed or pressured to attain your desires. You act from a place of knowing that what is meant for you will come to you, and in the meantime, you continue to live fully in the present. Life becomes less about efforting to achieve and more about aligning with what already is. One of the biggest gifts you can give yourself is to stop looking for answers outside of you. The truth is that you already have everything you need within you. Your mind, your heart, and your intuition all carry the wisdom you need to navigate life. When you trust your inner guidance and stop searching for external validation, you step into your power. This shift from striving to allowing doesn't just change the way you approach your goals, it changes the way you view yourself and the world. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and you become the creator of your reality. When you stop chasing things that seem out of reach and begin to live as though they're already yours, the world will respond in kind. You will begin to attract everything you desire, not because you're chasing it, but because you're embodying it. By embracing this mindset, you also free yourself from the comparison game. The constant measuring of yourself against others is a trap that keeps you stuck in a cycle of dissatisfaction. But when you accept that you are already whole, already complete, you no longer feel the need to compare yourself to anyone. You are enough as you are, and the world around you will reflect that truth back to you. As you continue to practice this, you'll notice subtle shifts in the way you move through life. The people you interact with will respond differently to you because your energy has changed. You no longer radiate desperation or need. Instead, you exude confidence, calm, and assurance. You become magnetic because you've stopped chasing and started living from a place of abundance. This philosophy isn't about waiting passively for things to fall into your lap. It's about living with an open heart and a clear mind, knowing that everything you need is already within you. By focusing on your internal state rather than external achievements, you naturally draw the experiences you desire into your life. When you stop chasing, you create the conditions for your desires to find you. It's not about pushing harder or trying more. It's about releasing the need for control and allowing life to unfold as it will. And when you do this, you'll find that everything you've ever wanted comes to you effortlessly, not because you tried harder, but because you've learned to let go. The act of letting go is the most powerful way to embrace everything that is already yours. The paradox of life is that the more we chase after something, the further we seem to push it away. This is especially evident in the pursuit of happiness, love, and success. The relentless striving for these things often creates a sense of lack and dissatisfaction. Yet the moment we let go of this struggle and start to live as if we already possess everything we desire, things begin to shift. This is the true power of mindset, the realization that the key to achieving your desires lies in releasing the need to control the outcome and simply being in alignment with the life you wish to create. Once you embrace this idea, the pressure to get things right diminishes. Instead of focusing on the end result, you begin to take action from a place of certainty. You know that what you desire is already within your reach, and you act with the confidence that comes from that inner knowing. This inner confidence is magnetic. People are naturally drawn to those who exude self-assurance not because they are perfect or have everything figured out, but because they are comfortable in their own skin, not defined by external circumstances. One of the most powerful practices to reinforce this shift in mindset is gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present in your life. It's a practice that grounds you in the here and now, helping you to see all the ways in which abundance already exists around you. Gratitude aligns your energy with the things you desire and helps to release the feeling of lack. When you practice gratitude consistently, it becomes easier to stop focusing on what you don't have and start acknowledging what you already possess. This simple shift in focus creates a powerful ripple effect, changing your energy and your interactions with others. Instead of constantly striving for more, you learn to be content with where you are, knowing that everything you need is within you. This doesn't mean settling for less. It means recognizing that you already have enough. The more you live in alignment with your desires, the less you need to try. You'll notice that opportunities, relationships, and experiences that resonate with you will come to you naturally. You no longer have to chase them because you're already vibrating at the same frequency. Your mindset shifts from one of scarcity to one of abundance, and the world reflects this back to you. This principle can be applied in all aspects of life. For example, if you're striving for a new job or career advancement, rather than obsessing over each step and stressing about the outcome shift, you're focused to living as though you already have the position. Focus on the actions you would take if you were already in that role. Make decisions from that place of assuredness. This doesn't mean pretending to be someone you're not, but rather embodying the energy of success and confidence that will eventually draw the right opportunities to you. Similarly, in relationships, if you feel emotionally deprived and constantly seek validation from others, you will attract relationships that reinforce that feeling of lack. But if you begin to live as if you already have all the love and validation you need from within, you stop seeking approval. Instead, you begin to radiate self-assurance, and the right relationships will be attracted to you naturally. A great example of this is the story of a man who spent years feeling frustrated about his career. Despite his hard work, recognition seemed to elude him. He constantly felt like he had to prove himself to others, seeking validation from external sources. Eventually, he realized that his constant need for approval was holding him back. He shifted his mindset, starting to act as though he already had the recognition and success he craved. This change in perspective allowed him to stop chasing after accolades and instead focus on doing the work that brought him joy. As he aligned himself with this new energy, recognition began to follow. The key here is not about waiting for everything to fall into place, but about making sure that you are in alignment with the very things you desire. When you live as though you already have everything, your thoughts, words, and actions will begin to match that energy. This is when the magic happens. Your external reality starts to align with your internal beliefs. When you stop desperately chasing success, wealth, or love, you make space for those things to come to you naturally. It's also important to understand that this principle doesn't mean that everything will fall into place without effort. You will still need to take action, but the key difference is that this action will come from a place of confidence and certainty rather than desperation. When you act as though your desires have already been fulfilled, you step into a mindset of abundance where opportunities are drawn to you effortlessly. This doesn't mean that you won't face challenges, but it does mean that you'll be in a better position to handle them because you're not operating from a place of fear or lack. In fact, this shift is about making peace with the present moment. You accept where you are, knowing that everything you desire is on its way to you. Instead of constantly focusing on what you lack, you begin to focus on what you already have, and this shift in focus creates an energy that is both powerful and magnetic. What we must remember is that the true power doesn't lie in the chasing, it lies in the being. When you embody the energy of the things you desire, you stop needing to chase them, and instead, you draw them to you. In conclusion, the power of living as though you already have everything you desire is transformative. It's about shifting your mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. When you stop chasing and start living in alignment with your desires, you begin to create the conditions for those desires to manifest. It's not about striving harder, but about trusting the process, letting go of the need to control, and living with the knowing that everything you seek is already within you. By embodying the energy of your desires, you make space for the world to respond accordingly, bringing those very desires into your life naturally.